Hello, I'm Cheryl Moody, and this is Shaman Says. So let me ask you a question. Are you really happy? Are you really truly happy? Why is Cheryl asking me if I'm happy? I know that many of you have this longing for something else. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You can have the perfect job, the perfect house, all your friends, your family support you, beautiful, healthy children. There's just something seems to be missing. Or it's the total opposite. Your life's a wreck. You've lost your loved ones, you've lost a spouse, you got fired from a job, you feel depressed, you feel fat, you feel overwhelmed. And these feelings, these emotions, they bring up a lot of discernment. And, what's missing? Well, let me tell you my story. And I trust that it will inspire, plant a seed, or give you some information, some tidbits that you can use to analyze your life and to see maybe what is missing. So I was raised in East Tennessee in a very loving home with lots of great family, raised in a religious, home, and had a beautiful community around me. Yet inside, I still had this longing, this rebel kind of thing going on. And, when you're young, you're programmed by all the people that are around you. And it's not necessarily bad, but it may not necessarily be good. And this programming that they're giving you is the programming they got. So you can't really blame your parents or the teachers or anyone else because they were giving you the best they knew how to do. So a lot of times, and it's taken me quite a long time to learn that it's not their fault and there's no blame, but it is what it is. And as I went through my life, you sometimes this gnawing or this longing is very intense, and sometimes it's just very subtle. So as you go through your life, different things that happen in your life can cause this unsettledness to really come up and to be a little bit more aggressive than other times. And in my 20s, and so you're having a good time and friends and partying and going to school, and so it really didn't nag at me as much. But as I became into my 30s, I really had this longing again, and I met a wonderful group of people. My first husband was in the Coast Guard. We traveled a lot, and I learned about meditation when I was about 20 years old, and it was an amazing transformation for me to understand that. And I was very naive to what back then we called New Age or metaphysical, I think it was, in the 80s. And I understood then that I wanted to know more. So for several years now, I've been anything I get my hands on reading, Course in Miracles, studied all the different religions. I want to know about it before I have an opinion. So whether it was Buddha, I studied Buddhism, I studied the Tao, let's see what else, Kabbalah. And it's interesting, the same thread, the same feeling of unconditional love is in all of them. And it made me realize that we're all one and that we're all seeking the same thing. And that spirit, God, source, whoever you call your energy source, the person that, or the energy that created you, is just unconditional love. And it's everywhere. And it's so humbling and yet so beautiful that it's hard to put words to it. And as I just continued to meet different mentors and study these things, I found that at times it was very depressing. At times I tried to numb it because I didn't understand. So I feel like that's why people will get involved in drugs and alcohol. It doesn't even have to be negative. It could be excessively exercising, which is definitely not what I'm doing. Or, excessively shopping, or just all kinds of things, watching television for hours at a time, playing video games for hours at a time, being on Facebook. That is a numbing mechanism, and it keeps that gnawing, that urge, it keeps it at bay a little bit. So when I ask you, are you really happy? What I basically was saying is, what if we quit numbing it? And that's what I started doing. What if I quit numbing that and really started paying attention to it and started to learn from this calling? And as I studied and was doing all these different wonderful things with my friends and learning about shamans and learning about shamanism and ceremony, I was running a very successful salon with lots of hairdressers. And I did have a lot of stress, but I assume that just came with, owning a business and all the financials and everything that was going with it. And even though we were very successful, there's still a lot to do. And I found that not only was the weight coming on, but I was also becoming more and more unhappy, more depressed, even though we were successful. And then the big bombshell came, and the economy changed, and I had a few hairdressers go and open their own business and leave me in a financial bind. And it was really a spiral for me, because my programming was to be successful, you had to do a certain thing. And to have arrived, you needed to work hard and, have your business and do this and do that and all the other things that we're all programmed to do to be successful. And when the business started hurting, I was hanging on by the white fingertips to prove to the world and myself that I was not a failure. But let me tell you, that was a tough road. And I was able to keep the salon open for about 2 years. And I tell you, that's probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my whole life. And I was really battling myself. So those 2 years was coming to an end, and I really just couldn't take it anymore. So I completely shut down. And it's amazing how the body just takes over. And I could even feel it. I could feel the hormones raging, poison, like going through my blood. And I was on the living room floor in fetal position. And my husband, Gary, didn't know what to do with me. He's like, I don't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do. I was so broken. And when you go to the doctor, all they wanted to do was give me Prozac or some other kind of antidepressant. And I had this voice that kept saying, you don't need that. But yet, the programming of the outside world was, yes, you do. Oh, and I'd never had anything like this. So I took some Prozac for a few months, and I hated it. And so I threw them away. And over time, it took me about a year. I kind of cocooned myself, and I got a little studio and continued to do hair by myself. And I just really started pulling myself back together slowly. And that's been 3 years ago, and let me tell you, I look back now, and that is the biggest blessing that could have ever happened. You couldn't have told that girl on the floor 3 years ago that this was going to be a blessing, but it is. And the reason I say it's a blessing is because that was the death of the old programming. What in shaman's world would be called the death that you must have so that you can bring out your gifts. And by that brokenness, I've been able to really build myself back up these last 3 years, and I feel like this is the best my life has ever been. And the last 2 years, I have been fortunate enough to work with some beautiful healers, and that has really helped my courage and brought my self-esteem back up, and I really have a nice momentum now. And then meeting our mentors and going to shaman school and opening our new practice has just been phenomenal. And I know all that happened because first I had to break that programming. And because I didn't know how to do it and I wasn't paying attention and I was numbing it, the universe did it for me. And now our next quest was we sold everything we own, except for a few clothes and some dishes, and our house. And I'm closing my hair practice, and my husband's closing his business, and we're going on the road. And that is really I think now, going through this whole process, looking back at it, this is the happiest I believe I've ever been in my 52 years. And it's interesting because all this time I thought you had to have the right job and the right car and the right clothes and the right friends, and you had to be a part of this group, and you had to have successful this and be a certain size and wear certain diamonds and to be successful. And now living on very limited things, just what you need, and not even really having a job that's going to give me a consistent paycheck. This is the freest I've ever felt. And I know that the next few years is going to be more prosperous than I can even imagine, because that's how the universe works. So again, as I close, I want to say to you, are you really happy? And if you are, God bless you. And if you aren't, find people around you that can help you. Visit us at our website, soarwithshamans.com. Call me. I can assist you with this. Why? Because I've been there. Until we meet again, this is Shaman Says. Namaste.